I had a client call me last week and she'd been watching the news, reading the headlines, and she asked me point blank, Curtis, should I be worried? Is Ottawa's market about to crash? And I told her what I'm going to tell you right now. Sit down, because the real answer is not what you're expecting. If you've been on social media lately, you've probably seen the headlines. Ottawa's housing market is on the verge of collapse. Prices are dropping, buyers are disappearing, crash incoming. And look, I get it. When you see these headlines over and over again, it starts to feel like the sky is falling. But here's the thing. I've been selling real estate for over a decade, and I work in this market every single day. And when I actually sit down and look at the real numbers, not the clickbait, not the doom predictions, the data tells a completely different story. Ottawa's housing market has not crashed. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why, using the actual numbers, and more importantly, I'm going to tell you what is actually happening, because the truth is more interesting than the headlines. I'm going to show you something that almost nobody's talking about, a specific part of this market that is quietly signaling where prices are headed next. So stick with me to the end, because that part is going to surprise you. My name is Curtis and I'm a realtor here in Ottawa with Royal LePage. So let's get into it. And before I show you why the crash narrative is wrong, I want to be fair and actually explain where it comes from, because it's not completely made up. Here's what the pessimists are pointing to, and why they're not wrong lying about these numbers. Sales activity in Ottawa right now is running 21% below the 5-year average for this time of year. Active listings have climbed to nearly 3,000 units, up 11% from last year, and way above what we were seeing in 2021 and 2022. The median sale price in February was $615,450, and that's down 3.1% from a year ago. And homes are sitting on the market longer. The median days on the market in February was 24 days. So if you look at those four numbers in isolation, slower sales, more inventory, prices down, longer days on market, yeah, sounds a bit rough. That's where the crash story lives. But here's what the crash narrative is doing wrong. It's comparing today's market to 2021, the most extreme seller's market in Ottawa's history. A market where homes were selling in just a few days with 15 offers. So if you compare today's market to 2019, a completely normal, healthy Ottawa market, the picture looks totally different. In February 2019, there were 2,211 listings in Ottawa. Today, there are 2,928. That's more inventory, but it's not catastrophically more. In February 2019, the median days on market was 16. Today, it's 24. Slower, but not broken. And here's the one thing that stops the crash argument cold. In February 2019, homes sold for 99.7% of asking price. Today, it's 97.9%. We went from sellers getting basically full ask in a normal market to sellers getting 97.9 cents on the dollar today. That's not a crash. That's a correction back toward normal. The crash crowd is measuring from the wrong starting line. So now I want to show you what an actual real estate crash looks like, because I think a lot of people are throwing that word around who've never actually seen one. A real estate crash is not prices dropping 3%. Look at what happened in the US in 2008. National home prices fell over 30% peak to trough, and millions of homeowners lost their homes. The financial system collapsed. That's a crash. Ottawa in 2026 is nowhere near that. And here's why it won't happen. First, Ottawa's job market is fundamentally different from most cities. The federal government employs tens of thousands of people in this city. And yes, there's been some public sector layoffs, but the federal government isn't going anywhere. That employment base creates a floor under housing demand that most cities don't have. Second, supply is elevated, but not explosive. Yes, there are more listings than we've seen in a few years, but we're at 3,000 active listings, not 10,000. If we compare this February to a normal market year like 2016, active listings are still down more than 35% compared to then. Third, people are still paying close to the asking price. At 97.9% of sale to list ratio means buyers and sellers are within 2% of each other. In a real crash, that gap blows wide open. Sellers are desperate, buyers disappear, and properties are selling for 80, 85 to 90 cents on the dollar. And that's not happening in Ottawa right now. The market has corrected from a historic peak. That is healthy. That is normal. It's not a crash. And here's something I want you to understand that nobody in the media is talking about, because it requires actually knowing the city. There is no single Ottawa housing market right now. There are 3 completely different markets happening at the same time. And which one you're in determines everything. Ottawa market number 1, detached single-family homes. This market's balanced. 358 sales in February, average price of $830,951. Homes are taking about 21 days to sell on average. Well-priced detached homes in Canada, Barhaven, Orleans, Riverside South, they're still selling. Not in a bidding war frenzy, but they're moving. This market is healthy. And if you're a seller here and you price correctly, you will sell your home. Ottawa market number 2, townhomes. This is the strongest market in the city right now, and almost nobody is talking about it. In February, townhome sales were up 13.8% year over year. Every other segment is declining, townhomes are growing. Months of inventory for townhomes is only 2.7, the tightest of any segment, and the benchmark price is $560,700. Townhome sales in February at 280 units were running stronger than the historical average for that month. Why? Because townhomes sit in the sweet spot of affordability. Buyers who can't stretch to that $830,000 for a detached home can still get into a well-located 3-bedroom townhouse in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. And that's where Ottawa's buyer demand is living right now. If you own a townhome and if you've been waiting to sell, your window is open right now. Ottawa market number 3, condos. And I'm going to be very honest with you about this one. The condo market in Ottawa is struggling, and it has been for a while. In February, only 122 condos sold. That's down 28% from last year. The months of inventory for condos is 5.6, more than double the townhome market. The median days on market for a condo in Ottawa right now is 43 days. And the benchmark condo price is $385,500, down 2.7% year over year and 5.4% from just 6 months ago. So now, is this a condo crash? I'd call it a condo correction. The Ottawa condo market got overbuilt and overpriced during the 2021 and 2022 years, and now it's finding its real level. The good news, month over month, even condo prices ticked up 1.3% in February, which suggests we may be seeing a floor form. But the point is, the crash narrative treats Ottawa like one market, and it's not. 3 completely different stories are happening simultaneously. The headline number hides all of it. Okay, so here's the thing that we've been building towards in this video. When most people look at the real estate market, they look at prices and sales volume. Those are lagging indicators. They tell you what has already happened. I want to show you a leading indicator, something that tells you what's about to happen. It's called the MLS Home Price Index Benchmark, and it measures genuine price movement by controlling for what types of homes are actually selling. It strips out the noise. And here's what it's telling us right now about Ottawa. In February 2026, the HPI benchmark price went up 1.4% from January across every single segment. Composite benchmark price up, single family up, townhouse up, apartments up, all of them in the same month. Now, why does this matter? Because the HPI doesn't lie. It's not affected by a few expensive homes skewing the average. It's not affected by seasonality. When the HPI moves up, the real value is being added to Ottawa homes. And here's the context that makes it even more significant. Months of inventory dropped from 4.4 in January to 3.8 in February. The market absorbed more homes than came onto it. So sales improved from 610 in January to 780 in February. Momentum is building. The Canadian Real Estate Association is forecasting gradually strengthening demand throughout 2026 as lower borrowing costs work through the market. And what this tells me is, as someone working the market every day, we are at our very near bottom of this correction cycle. The buyers who move in the next 60 days are going to look back on this as the best buying window that they've had. The crash crowd will still be posting doom content in April, and the buyers who listen to them will be paying more, with more competition for the homes they could have bought today. I'm not saying prices are about to explode. I'm saying the floor is forming, and the data is showing it clearly. Let me make this practical. What does this actually all mean for you? If you're thinking about buying, you're in the best position auto buyers have been in since before the pandemic. You have a real choice. You have time to make thoughtful decisions. You have negotiating power, especially in the condo market. And if you're buying before the spring competition arrives, the one thing I'd tell every buyer right now, don't wait for prices to drop further before you move. The leading indicators are pointing to up. So if you wait for certainty, you'll be waiting the market that's already shifted against you. Get your pre-approval done now. Get clear on your target neighborhoods, and get into this market before April when the competition returns. On the flip side, if you're thinking about selling, the market rewards sellers who price correctly and present their homes well. The days of throwing any price at a wall and watching buyers fight over it are behind us. But that still doesn't mean you can't sell for strong money, because well-positioned homes are absolutely still selling. If you own a townhome, this is your strongest window. Move now before spring inventory rises and dilutes your advantage. And if you own a detached home, price it right from day one. Homes that are overpriced in this market will sit. Homes that are priced to the data sell quickly, often with multiple offers. If you own a condo, be honest about the market you're in. Price properly from the start. A condo that sits for 60 days and gets 3 price reductions ends up selling for less than one that was priced right from day one. So let's look at the bottom line. Ottawa's housing market is not crashing. It never was. It corrected from a historic once-in-a-generation peak, and now it's settling into a new normal that actually looks a lot like 2018 and 2019. Balanced, real, and sustainable. And right now, in March 2026, there's a genuine window for buyers and sellers before the spring market fully arrives and the dynamic shifts again. I know there's a lot of noise out there about the auto real estate market right now, and a lot of people with opinions. What I've tried to do in this video is give you the actual numbers, the actual context, and my honest read of what's happening as someone who works in this market every single day. Ottawa's housing market has not crashed. The data says it clearly, but it is changing. And understanding how this is changing and where your opportunity is within it, that's where the real advantage lies. So if you want to have a conversation about your specific situation, whether you're thinking about buying or selling, or you just want to understand what your home is worth in today's market, let's connect. There's a link in the description of this video to book a call with me directly. No pitch, no pressure, just a real conversation about where you're at and what makes sense for you. And if this video gave you a clearer picture of what's actually happening in Ottawa, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more Ottawa homeowners find this content instead of the doom and gloom stuff. Subscribe if you want the March market numbers as soon as they drop. We'll break those down in the same way. I'm Curtis Sanoski. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.